Yeah, thank you. Thanks to everyone for joining today. My name is Rijul Gupta. I'm the CEO and founder of Deep Media, world leader in deepfake detection and Gen AI cybersecurity. I also wanted to thank the folks over at Carasoft for putting this together. You know, they've been a big help as we're taking our dual-use technology from enterprise into government, helping us understand government use cases to ensure that our technology has the placement, access, and integration needed to actually provide real-world value. Um, Brief intro on the Deep Media team before we hop into it. Company was founded by myself in 2017. I have a degree in engineering from Yale University. Been building machine learning applications since I was for the past 15, 16 years. We also have my co-founder, Emma, who's on the call today. She and I met at Yale. She studied linguistics and political science. She's a big reason why our technology is actually specifically able to deeply detect misinformation techniques. We also have Micah Terrell. He's our VP of Operations, 20 plus years in Special Operations Command. We also have Rusty Youngblood, an ex-US Special Forces, 10 years in emerging tech and government applications. And finally, we have Ryan Offman on this call, who's also an engineer from Yale and has really helped us deliver the technology to end users as well as provide support. So if we interact further, those are the people from the Deep Media team you'll probably be interacting with on a more regular basis, as well as myself. Our mission at Deep Media is to empower businesses and governments to protect people from Gen AI cybercrime. Gen AI, we believe, has an amazing potential to revolutionize how people interact, communicate, and engage with their customers, but unfortunately, it also has a lot of negative impacts. And so for the first part of this seminar and webinar, I'd like to go over kind of how we see the Gen AI threat landscape. Give you just a bit of an overview for those who are new to Gen AI, as well as a refresher for people who've been in here for a while. So as I mentioned earlier, Deep Media was founded in 2017, and we've been monitoring the progression of generative AI and synthetic media over the past 7 years. We've seen that since then, the types of Gen AI threats have remained relatively consistent, although the quality and scale has gotten a lot better. Generally, these are broken down when we think about Gen AI threats into text, images, audios, and videos, right? So an example of text would be ChatGPT or Llama 3.1. People can now use AI agents to create massive amounts of text-based misinformation, disinformation, as well as other cybersecurity threats. Additionally, we've, over the past year, seen a massive influx in Gen AI images. This is things like the photo here of President Trump getting arrested. This never happened, right? There are also photos of President Biden, Ukrainian President Zelensky, Vice President Kamala Harris, as well as general image-based synthetic misinformation of military engagements, troop movements. These are all real examples that we've seen be posted on social media, on Telegram channels, in WhatsApp groups. Generative AI images have historically presented the largest threat, but more recently, we're seeing a large increase in Gen AI voice misinformation. So this is content coming out of Gen AI platforms like 11 Labs and Voice.ai, voice cloning, text-to-speech, the ability to create hyper-realistic voices of global political leaders, global business leaders, your grandma saying and doing anything presents a new and novel and growing threat that we've seen more than 4 or 5x over the past 6 months, just from our engagements with industry. We're also seeing a rise in high-quality face manipulations. So generative AI face manipulations have been something that have still been able to be determined by the human eye. But more recently, we're seeing hyper-realistic Gen AI face-based images start to come at the forefront. And especially when we are coming into this election season, by combining image, face manipulation, and audio. This combination of kind of all three presents a new scale of a threat that, quite frankly, has never been seen before. And this is continuing to increase. Finally, here, when we're looking at the forefront of Gen AI misinformation, this is models like Kling, Sora, Luma. Sora is obviously from OpenAI. Kling and Luma are from Chinese-based corporations that are still creating Gen AI videos that might be detectable by human eyes today. But if the progression of Gen AI image, face, and voices has taught us anything, it's going to be 3 to 6 months before Gen AI video is essentially near imperceptible to human beings. And this is a trend that we've seen consistently grow over the past 7 years since founding this company. The quality of Gen AI content, text, image, audio, video, has gotten remarkably better over the past several years. And it's getting to a point now where it's indistinguishable for human beings to determine what's real and what's fake. Combining this with the cost and application layer of generative AI means that the scale of this problem is increasing, right? So it's not just that deepfakes are getting better, it's that deepfakes are getting significantly more common because now they're very cheap to produce and anyone can produce them by just going on a website. I don't need to be a machine learning engineer anymore. I can go to luma.ai and create a hyper-realistic Gen AI video. Now, with all of that being said, we think it's very important to highlight the impact of deepfakes in certain situations. I think it'd be really easy for me to sit here and tell you that deepfakes are going to end the world, but quite frankly, I don't think that's true, right? I think that there are types of generative AI that are less harmful and types of generative AI that are more harmful.
I think you are forgetting that you tried to nuke the last Minecraft world we had.
This is a deepfake of presidents playing Minecraft together, right? This represents something that is for a general audience, but has the low ability to actually create harms. People are generally able to determine that this is a fake. Hello, this is an example of a deepfake scam of Elon Musk, a cryptocurrency scam where they created a deepfake of Elon Musk and used that to manipulate markets, defraud people, defame Elon Musk. This represents a more medium impact deepfake. This is actually causing harms. People are losing money. Stock prices are manipulated. This is targeting individuals and corporations. But this is medium impact because people's lives aren't at stake in this example.
The illegal Russian offensive has been swift, callous, and brutal. It's barbaric. Putin's illegal occupation.
This is an example of a what we would call a high harm deepfake. This is a deepfake of President Biden talking about the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And actually, in this deepfake, he announces the draft for U.S. citizens to go and be involved in the conflict. This went viral on social media for about 48 hours. It caused a large panic in February of this year. Luckily, several of the platforms that it was posted on removed it very quickly. A couple of those platforms are current Deep Media customers, so I like to believe we had an impact in actually helping this prevent misinformation and prevent harms. But again, this could be created really easily. It could be created with President Biden, President Trump, Vladimir Putin, President Zelensky. There are plenty of individuals that could be used to have high impact and high harm deepfakes attack the United States corporations and governments. Hello. And so, again, I'll just zoom through these here. Deep Media has been actively involved with enterprise customers for deepfake detection integrations for the past 18 months. And during that time, we've created a report on the specific examples of how medium and high harm impact deepfakes are impacting the industry in the actual enterprise markets. And so largely this is broken down into cases of fraud, where people will create hyper-realistic deepfakes of CEOs and use them in real-time Zoom calls or in WhatsApp groups or sending a video over email and using that to defraud or scam certain individuals out of large amounts of capital. There have been examples of $35 million stolen from a corporation. A finance organization had $25 million stolen just a few months ago. And various different DoD and IC organizations have identified this as a major threat to U.S. government organizations. We're also seeing large amounts of threats to facial and audio manipulations in social media applications. So OSINT and PAI sources being flooded with deepfake content are causing massive harms for these platforms, for corporations who advertise on these platforms, and for governments who rely on that information to make actionable decisions. And then finally, we have real-time FaceTime video calling for one-to-one communications, right? As opposed to, deepfakes of a CEO being presented on the internet, actually calling someone on their cell phone and cloning their voice has been used to commit fraud attempts for blackmail and other types of generative AI cybercrime. This is an example of a real-time deepfake, high-quality deepfake of Elon Musk.
I just dropped like a 150 milligram edible, and I'm feeling fucking zooted. Honestly, I'm feeling on the neck on the top floor right now. I'm about to design like 30 new fucking space cars and get us to Mars.
And so while obviously this is somewhat comedic, there are other specific examples, which I'll show here in a little while, that were actually used to defraud customers, Tesla customers, cryptocurrency customers. And this just represents the amount of quality and scale of Gen AI cybercrime that we are currently seeing in the market. This is no longer something that is theory. We are actually seeing active deployments of Gen AI cybercrime like this in the industry. We're also starting to see that transition from industry applications into applications that threaten the United States government and allied governments. So part of what we do at Deep Media and part of what we're really good at is transitioning a lot of our enterprise work into government engagements. We're actively involved in 2 phase 2 cyber programs with through the AFWERX program with the United States Air Force, one with the Air Force Cryptologic Office and one with NASIC. And as many of you probably know, the CIBR program is largely developed to help create R&D applications for dual use purposes. So the technology that we're advancing, deploying, making better, making more scalable, making more cost effective in industry is something that we're now actively deploying for government users in government use cases such as these. And so we see the use of generative AI deepfakes by near-peer adversaries like China and Russia very much creating forefront models like Kling and Luma that are hyper-realistic, high quality, and hard to defend against as a major threat. But we're also starting to see the lower quality deepfakes, the content that is publicly available through open source GitHub models, be largely harmful as well. Essentially, it's no longer required for state-sponsored actors with tens of millions of dollars to cause harm. The guy in his mother's basement who has a grudge against someone is just as harmful, can create just as harmful deepfakes and image, audio, and face manipulations as these near-peer adversaries. And so when we're looking at what the enemies of the United States and the United States military and government are doing, this can be broken down into things like blackmail and extortion, right? Just as like we saw with the Elon Musk video, you can create deepfakes of high-profile leaders, flood social media, use that in real-time voice communications. Again, there are real-world examples that I am not at liberty to get into right now of this actively happening to attack the United States. We can also see examples of coordinated C2 disruption. Essentially, just massive amounts of online misinformation through PAI and OSINT sources being used to direct resources to certain areas that represent an impact to the United States preparedness and readiness. This is something that is less common right now, but we see this as a forefront threat. We think that it's just a matter of time before this attack is attempted, and we believe that Deep Media represents the best option to secure against that. And then finally, we are seeing information warfare and psyops. So a good example of this is the deepfake of Ukrainian President Zelensky that went viral, I believe over a year ago now, where he actually surrendered. Well, the deepfake was him surrendering to the Russian armed forces. This had an impact on morale before it was determined that it was a deepfake, and could also be used to create a massive amount of change in the level of Western support for these types of engagements. So we're, again, actively seeing deepfakes cause harm in the industry, as well in specific government use cases.
The illegal Russian offensive has
Another
been swift,
clear example here is
callous,
this,
and
again,
brutal.
video of President Biden
has
announcing the
created a
draft. I just
two-front
wanted to
national
highlight this
security
because we think it's
crisis
very
that requires more troops than the volunteer military can supply. I have received guidance from General Milley, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, that the recommended way forward will be to invoke the Selective Service Act, as is my authority as president.
You can imagine the flood of content of this type going viral on social media could cause massive panic, massive harms, even amongst educated individuals. It's no longer possible in many cases for human beings to determine what is authentic and what is Gen AI. And so we talked a lot about the problems here, right? I wanted to set that stage of what deepfakes actually are, what the threats of deepfakes are today in 2024. We're seeing deepfake attacks in corporations for fraud, scam, misinformation, using Gen AI images, Gen AI voice manipulations, and facial manipulation in videos, as well as text-to-video manipulations. This is happening at a quality and a scale that is very, very difficult for human beings alone to survive. We are already seeing this problem occur across the world, not just in the United States. And the mechanisms and systems that these social media companies, as well as fraud detection companies, cybersecurity companies have in place are human focused. They're human beings that are content moderators, human analysts that are trying to keep up. And there are just not enough human beings in the world able to do this. And that is why we need a compounded AI solution with humans in the loop using AI, media intelligence, and deepfake detection to meet the demand for content moderation and deepfake detection. One way we highlight that is by giving you an example. So I'm going to show several images here. I'd like you all internally, just as you're looking at this, to just look at the images. I'll go through them really quick, and I want to see if you can tell which ones are real and which ones are fake. These content moderators in social media platforms often have less than half a second per image to review content. Again, there are billions of people on these platforms, and there are tens of thousands of content moderators. When you're looking at gore, violence, hate speech, the human alone solution works. When you're looking at Gen AI, our hypothesis, and I think we're starting to see this actually in action, is that humans alone don't scale to meet this demand. So again, I'll go through these really quick, just internally, see if you can tell which ones are real and fake. Real or fake? Real or fake? This one real or fake? How about this one? This one? This real or fake? This one? What about this one? How about that one? And then finally, this one. So I know those were quick, but again, that is on average about the time during high profile situations where these online social media content monitors have to review deepfakes. And if you're an analyst using PAI or OSINT sources for the US military, we all know that there's so much content that a human being is already having trouble keeping up. When you add the inability to determine what is real and what's not, it is infinitely harder. It is exponentially harder to tell what's real and what's not, and then to tell how to take action. So just going over the answer key here, this one is real, this one's fake, this one's actually fake. A lot of people think this one's real, but it's fake, and Deep Media can prove it. This one's real. This one's fake. This one is real. This one is fake, actually. This is not a real image. This one is real. So is this one. And so is this one. Those were all real images. Then finally, this one's fake. So we can see now that the deepfake problem in image, audio, video is really a problem of scale, right? The issue is that deepfakes are created on one platform, on one device. They then go through this distribution, online communication distribution platform, which removes metadata, it removes watermarking, it adds, compression artifacts that make it harder for people to tell, and then it's delivered to another device and used to impact a final human actor, right? So this pathway from the intent and creation of a generative AI deepfake to the impact it has on a human being involves massive amounts of corporations, massive media verticals, and each one of these positions is a place for attack. So when you're thinking about your organizations and how you're going to respond to generative AI cybercrime, you need to be thinking about solutions at each one of these levels, at each one of these layers. And that is a daunting task, right? That is very difficult to accomplish. And that is the goal that Deep Media has set out on. Over the past 7 years, we've integrated a variety of techniques, some of which are more obvious to people, such as metadata and watermarking. Some of them are really deep tech, really hardcore R&D went into things like cryptographic hashing, deepfake detection, and poison pilling. And by combining all of those techniques, all 5 of those techniques into a unified ecosystem, Deep Media has been able to achieve a scalable and accurate solution for deepfake detection. We can detect image, audio, video, face deepfakes with high quality, high precision, high recall. We can do it at scale, and we can do it in the cloud, in a secure cloud ecosystem, or through an on-prem deployment in a customer cloud or in a customer data center. So this is a highly deployable, highly interoperable, highly accurate, highly scalable, easy to use system for deepfake detection and Gen AI cybersecurity. Now, underlying all of that is a series of proprietary technology, media intelligence and content understanding technology that Deep Media has developed in order to tell what's real and what's fake. Each one of these are accessible in our AI platform. So when customers sign up for DeepID, our deepfake detection platform, they don't just get a deepfake detector. They get object detection, they get object tracking, facial identification, voice biometrics. We have things like image captioning, explainable AI, right? A series of media intelligence capabilities all wrapped up into a product ecosystem that is highly easy to use and also highly reliable. This is an example of the system that we're deploying over the next month, actually, by October 31st. Our plan is to release a publicly available version of our deepfake detector. But DeepID is currently in production with several government and enterprise customers. And so before going into more detail, kind of on the tech side, the underlying mechanisms, how that works, I thought it would just make sense to show you the product. So this is DeepID. This is what's currently being used by large tech giants, financial security platforms, global service integrators, Gen AI providers, and of course, various DoD and IC customers. We've integrated techniques such as OSINT scraping into our deepfake detectors. So this is in beta release with a couple of large enterprise customers now, but more and more we're seeing this as a prime use case for deepfake identification. We call it deepfake identification because there's a difference between getting one video and having the ability to tell what's real and what's fake, and going online through OSINT scraping and PAI sources to actually find, score, and catalog deepfakes that are posted on the internet. So this is an example of an OSINT scraper I set up to find generative AI and deepfakes of President Trump. You can set keywords here really easily if you want to add a new keyword, such as deepfakes of Vice President Harris. We can just type it in right here. We can find the country of interest that people are specifically looking for deepfakes in. One important thing to note that I'm sure many of the OSINT experts on here can confirm is that publicly available sources, social media sources, will actually show different content depending on different IP addresses, right? So using our internal scraping technology, we can actually change the IP address and the country location that our system is scraping from. And so if you're in the United States, you might see certain content under certain search terms. If you're in China or Russia or Europe or Canada or Mexico or in California versus Texas, you might see different content, right? And so we have a very unique ability to actually fine tune and hone exactly where we're scraping from in this digital landscape. And of course, customers can set limits on the amount of content they're processing. So we can process millions of images every single day, or if we want to isolate and only find the top 100 of that day, we can do that as well. These are currently the 5 platforms that we support right now in production with customers, but we're actively adding new platforms such as Telegram, VK, Reddit, Bilibili, and other international social media platforms into this online OSINT scraping tool. So once these keywords are set, content actually comes through our system. So these are all images that we've scraped automatically in the past several weeks. Again, this runs every 6 hours. We find new deepfakes, new generative AI, etc. For an enterprise use case, this is an example of what one of our customers actually found. This is a deepfake representing reputational harm to a large Fortune 200 business, which again is one of our customers right now. I won't go into detail on that, but essentially this represents a significant brand threat to customers who it's ridiculous to think that this could be real, but I think it's worth never underestimating the ability of a human being to be manipulated and fooled by content. So many of the comments online under this post thought this was an actual product release from this company. They thought that, they were actually creating a new type of burger made out of dog meat in Asian countries. That's obviously not true, but so many people thought it was. Deep Media was able to quickly find and prove that this is a Gen AI image, that this is manipulation that has a market impact, and then using explainable AI techniques such as heat mapping, We can pinpoint the locations and areas of a image that provide significant evidence of AI manipulation. So then when content moderators need proof to go take this down, we provide that proof, right? We're not just saying, hey, we think this is fake. We're saying we have the best deepfake detector in the world. We have solid evidence that this is fake. Zoom in right here and you'll see that, right? Take this heat map. Look at the heat map. The heat map shows right here as the most obvious part of this image that this is fake, right? Zoom in here. Yeah, this is exactly what a Gen AI image looks like. The letters are all messed up, right? So we can go that extra step and say, not only is this fake, we know this is fake, and we know this represents reputational and brand harms. And that is really critical. Here's an example of something that's impactful for a government user. So again, I have scans going on every 6 hours, and that can be configured to be more often, but we found that to be a fine timeline. Every 6 hours, we scan for deepfakes of President Trump. When we find a deepfake, we can also know that it's impactful and harmful. We know that this is a deepfake of President Trump sitting next to the Pope, Benjamin Netanyahu, and Vladimir Putin, all giving the thumbs up. This is hyper realistic and represents a serious and legitimate risk to the United States and to the United States reputation. We are able to determine that it's a fake, prove that it's a fake, and we're actively working on automatic takedown requests to be able to respond to this misinformation at scale. Again, this is a platform integrated through API and on-prem deployment, so it's really critical to note that the human being is always in the loop. It is not our goal to provide fully automated autonomous AI systems. It is our goal to create highly usable and useful systems for human beings, where human beings can now scale 100 or 200 times more than they otherwise could have to continue to meet the increasing demands for PAI, OSINT scraping, media intelligence, and response. And, it's important to know that our deepfake detection does not just have high precision and high recall, but it is also highly accurate in real images as well, right? When we say something is fake, we know it's fake, but we are also very able to determine content is real. So this is a very famous image of President Trump. I'm sure many of you have seen it. There were a lot of conspiracy theories and misinformation going online stating that this was staged or didn't happen. And again, Deep Media was able to be there to prove with high accuracy and high specificity that this is in fact a real image. This was not manipulated with AI. We can prove that, have explainable AI around the reasoning to determine that this is actually a concrete real image. Now, this is also true in audio and video. Again, generative images have been used to create misinformation in the past, but the biggest threat that we're seeing moving forward is Gen AI voice and face and video manipulations. So this is an example, I was showing this earlier, of a Gen AI voice of Elon Musk promoting a cryptocurrency scam. I'll play it here again. I think, I might be having some issue with the audio, so I'll go ahead and just describe it. So one of the things that we do really well at Deep Media is integrate those series of capabilities that I was showcasing earlier into a full-fledged deepfake detection suite of products. So when you run an audio, you're not just getting that real or fake score, you're getting a real or fake score, but you're also getting a time-by-time section of what that score looks like. Down here, you're getting a transcription. We know who's talking, what they're saying. We have transcriptions across 50 global languages and then translation into English. So you can upload content in French, German, Russian, Ukrainian, Mandarin, Japanese, any language. We'll run it through our system. We have high accuracy deepfake detection and transcription to let you know what's going on, right? Always going back to that, so what? Is this a low harm, medium harm, or high harm deepfake? We make it really easy for a user to interpret the harm type, as well as an easy to understand and explainable detection product. So down here, we can see that a large amount of this audio was flagging our generative AI as being manipulated. Going into a little bit more detail, we can actually pinpoint locations on a second-by-second basis that help us determine the parts of this audio that were fake. So we can use this information as evidence for an analyst who's making that final decision, or needs to take this down from a social media platform, or needs to provide a report to their superior. This is all providing information and making it easy to integrate deepfake detection into a variety of use cases. Again, I wanted to showcase That image, that video I was showing earlier of President Biden, a deepfake of President Biden announcing the draft. That's what this looks like in the Deep ID system. We can see when he's talking, what he's saying, how fake it is, and provide a final score saying, yeah, we're very confident this is fake, and here's the evidence, right? Our goal, again, is to provide as much resources and tools to make human analysts scalable to meet the demand for Gen AI cybersecurity. As I was mentioning earlier, we not only have high precision and recall, but we also have a high negative predictive value. Our ability to detect real content as real is also very high quality. This is a real audio of President Biden. This is, we can see here from the mouse spectrogram that it has a lot of noise. It has a lot of reverb. This is a highly noisy audio that many other technologies and tools might classify as generative AI or classify as manipulated. But because of the research and the work we've done over the past 7 years, we've built technology and tooling that provides high accuracy results, even in extreme environments. So when there is a lot of microphone noise and degradation, and when there's a lot of crowds in the background talking over people, we can still detect deepfakes with high accuracy and give that user that confidence and that ability to determine what is authentic and what is not in audio and image. And then finally here in video, this is an example of a very high quality deepfake. Many people might be familiar with this social media influencer. They're a deepfake influencer of Tom Cruise. So they'll actually take real content that's recorded of just some guy and then deepfake that guy to look like Tom Cruise in various compromising situations. I believe the account has over 1 million followers across social media platforms, and much of the content is people thinking that this is a real deepfake. This is largely known as the highest quality and most realistic deepfake known to date. And Deep Media, even in these really high quality extreme circumstances, is able to prove that this content is heavily manipulated. It is worth noting that the overall score here, while it's above 50%, which is indicative of Gen AI manipulations, it is lower than some of our other content. In circumstances that are really high quality, it's harder to determine whether things are real or fake. And I think this is something that we're constantly working on through R&D, as well as partnerships in academia and partnerships in government to help advance our state-of-the-art deepfake detectors. As Gen AI gets better, so does our deepfake detectors. But right now, we are still the best solution, and I believe the most accurate solution to determine what is authentic and what is Gen AI. And here's the proof, right? Even in the highest quality deepfake in 2024, we can still detect it as fake. And then finally, here's a real video of a military leader in Russia talking. Many people thought this was actually a deepfake, but we were able to prove with high certainty that this is in fact an authentic, real video. So that is an overview of the Deep Media Deep ID platform. We go from OSINT scraping, you can search certain keywords. We'll pick image, audio, video out of the internet on OSINT platforms. You can upload anything you want directly to the system or through our API. We make it really easy to navigate, and then we make it really easy to understand whether something is real or fake in image, audio, video. We believe that the system we've developed is the most comprehensive and most valuable solution for deepfake detection to date. This is a report on our efficacies. We have high precision and high recall across image, faces, and voices. It is not 100%. The system is not a 100% accurate solution. We don't believe there ever will be a 100% accurate solution for deepfake detection. That is why it is so critical that any solution integrates explainable AI, tooling, and human-in-the-loop systems in order to provide that final human decision maker to have accurate and scalable technology to meet this demand. We are also highly scalable ourselves. We can process hundreds of thousands of pieces of media every single day, as well as provide low latency scoring. So if there's a deep fake result you need back quick, we'll get it back to you quick through the system. And if you need hundreds of thousands of image, audio, video piped through our content, we have the ability to run that content and filter the most impactful deepfakes for you. This system is currently in deployment with the following customers. Again, we have 2 phase 2 SIBRs that we're actively deploying on right now. one with the Air Force Cryptologic Office, and then one with NASIC. We are also in active talks and evaluations with several other large corporations, as well as government defense integrators and government users themselves, largely deployed at scale with a go-to-market strategy that we think is largely based in customer education. So a big part of what we do is educating the customer on deepfake detection use cases, both in industry and government. We want people to be as educated, as informed as possible, which is why we do seminars like this. It's important that people understand the actual threats that deepfake present, but also the solutions that are available in a variety of use cases. The company has strong revenue growth figures, and we're very solid from an enterprise use case situation. And we've also done a competitive analysis with our customers, which suggests that currently Deep Media is the most accurate US-based, well, we're the most accurate deepfake detector, most scalable deepfake detector across the entire world. But I believe that we are also the only US-based that is multi-modality, ability to deploy it on-prem. And that's proved by our customer engagements with some of these big tech companies and financial institutions. Our implementation is really low footprint for any of the cloud nerds on this call. We are deployed through a Dockerized Kubernetes cluster that can be installed through Helm, and it requires fairly low resources to actually scale this in your existing cloud through an on-prem deployment. Our technology is secured through a robust IP and data moat, which includes granted US patents, pending US patents, a large pipeline of patent applications that we will be submitting against, and large proprietary data sets that include enriched data in image, audio, and video. We are very proud to work with academic, industry, and government partners, including NIST, the DARPA AI Force, SRI International, Purdue University, University of Buffalo, and others. These have been very helpful in making sure we continue to advance the state of the art of what's possible in deepfake detection at scale. And so, I'm happy to go into more details. I have some slides here on the tech and the product roadmap. But if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. I believe you'll be able to get these slides here at the end. But someone from Deep Media, probably specifically Micah, who I think has a lot of experience on the operational side for where I think a lot of y'all are coming from, I would be happy to reach out and give you more information about the tech, the product, and how we could deploy to help keep you and your organization safe from Gen AI cybercrime. So that is an overview of the system. I think we have a little bit of more time here, so I'm happy to open it up to questions. I also do have some product roadmap screenshots that I think would be kind of fun to talk about. But before hopping into that, wanted to give y'all an opportunity to ask some questions, either post them in the chat or feel free to just raise your hand and ask away, and I'll do what I can to provide education about the problems, the threats, or the solutions that you could integrate for Gen AI cybersecurity.
Great, thank you for that presentation, Rijul. I do have a couple of questions here for you. The first one is, practically speaking, how do we test a deepfake detections tool efficacy?
That's a great question. So Deep Media has actually released standardized benchmark data sets. These are currently being integrated by NIST and the DARPA AI program across image, voice, and face modalities. So these are what our results look like, but this is also the data set that we prepared across voices. We have 35,000 samples, about 17,000 fake samples, and 19,000 real samples across a variety of different generative AI creation algorithms. And our efficacy on these is very high quality. We believe this represents state of the art, but this data set is available publicly for our academic and government partners to use to validate and test deepfake detection systems, whether it's ours or anyone else's. We highly, highly recommend you use a data set that is large. 35,000, 40,000 samples in audio and video, a few thousand in images should be enough, and diverse. It should be across deepfake detection generators. You don't just want to pull down a lot of audios from like 11 Labs or Voice AI. Even if these are the most common, they are not the only generators out there. And some deepfake detection solutions are really fine-tuned and honed to detect only one type of generator, right? You need a deepfake detection solution that can detect the generators coming out of America or China or Russia, right? All of these different ones are important. So we'd recommend either you put together that data set yourself or contact us and we'll give you this data set to test our system or any other solution out there.
Thank you. The next question I have here is, what are the most important ways end users can protect their organizations from deepfakes?
I think the two most important ways are to sign up with an integrated OSINT scraping platform, right? If we go back to those medium and high harm impact use cases for deepfakes, right? This is reputation management, people posting deepfakes that go viral on social media. So the most impactful way you can protect yourself on that is use an OSINT scraping platform, whether it's Deep Media's or anyone else's, and integrate it for brand and reputation risk management. And then ideally that OSINT scraping platform would have integrated deepfake detection capabilities as well. So you're not just looking for deepfakes on the internet. When you actually find one, you'll get alerted like that. The second most important thing you can do is integrate a real-time deepfake detection capability on solutions such as Microsoft Teams. More and more, we're seeing people use deepfakes in real-time communications for fraudulent activities. So you need a real-time deepfake detector in your team's organization to protect yourself. So those are the two most important ways.
Thank you. Next question I have here is, do you have a basic overview on your website that we can share with our leadership to make them aware of the growing threat? Of course, all agencies have some idea, and CIO is certainly tracking it at some level, but other areas within each department are not following this in any capacity, but will have to respond to the impacts of deepfake in the media.
Yes, so we do have a active blog where we regularly post reports on the status of generative AI and deepfakes, and we release quarterly reports on deepfakes in production that we're actually seeing being used as real threats, as well as our efficacy on those deepfakes. So please go to deepmedia.ai and you'll see our blog and expect an updated quarterly report the first week of October, and would be happy to share it with the people on this call.
And next question I have is, what sites/tools have you found to be the most believable in creating deepfake videos and audios? Are these sites, tools adding noise to evade detection capabilities?
Yeah, it's a great question. So in voice, it's a voice.ai. This is a real-time voice changer as well as text-to-speech creation that has no guardrails. You can create deepfakes of yourself, President Trump, President Biden, Vladimir Putin, literally anybody. All you need is a few voice samples to clone that voice, and you're creating deepfakes immediately, right? This is the biggest one. And then 11 Labs is another big one just because they have great marketing and everyone knows about them. So people are often using 11 Labs to create deepfake content. Now, these application layers don't add noise themselves, but human users will add noise to evade detection methods. It is worth noting that Deep Media adds noise during our training algorithms to be robust against that. So those are detailed in these slides, but I do have other slides that I can share going into the exact types of augmentations that we implement. But at a high level, it's, reverb, background noise, Gaussian blur, pepper and like salt and pepper noise, right? Like Poisson noise, things like that. Background music, audio degradations like low pass filtering to, which is like represents real-time VoIP communication protocols in like 3 kilohertz range, things like that. So people will add noise on top of the application layer to avoid detection. And that makes our detection accuracies and precision and recall go down a little bit. With high noise deepfakes, our accuracy is closer to 95%. But we do regularly internally test our system for those types of noises to ensure that it is as robust as possible. On the face side, a new face model was just released. Well, actually, it's a new face capability. It's actually an old model, but they are integrating a few different generative AI techniques on top of each other. So this was updated as most recently 3 days ago, and this is what's going viral right now. It's called Deep Live Cam, and this is high quality face swaps in real time and in videos for free, essentially, right? This is not exactly an application layer. This is something where you still need to have a GPU. You need to know how to use machine learning. We think that an application layer, like an application version of this, like a truly applied version of this, is going to be available in the next 3 to 6 months. So while this does require a somewhat detailed knowledge of machine learning right now, in 6 months, this is going to be available for anybody. And it's going to be really, really easy to use. This is already really easy to use, but you do need to know how to use things like CUDA, right? So this is what we're seeing in faces. And then, our accuracy in faces, we do have some details around that. This is what our accuracy looks like. This was created using a SimSwap model. That is the generator used in this repo. And our accuracy on SimSwap model is 98% in 1,000 deepfake videos. So, deep media is proven to be quite robust against even the latest, most highest quality applied deepfakes in the wild. Again, people do add noise. It is harder to add noise in real-time video and video in general. It's just more expensive and takes a little bit longer. So it's less common for there to be manipulative noise to evade detection in video than it is in audio.
Thank you. Got a couple more questions here. Next one is, what trends are you seeing coming down the line?
Yeah, so the Gen AI cybercrime trends are going to revolve around more specific applications to more specific threats in the medium and high harm deepfake categories. So in the early days of deepfake misinformation and just generative AI posting, we were seeing a lot of content being spread that was low harm type. Hey, sorry, I think my internet cut out there for a second.
Yep, you're back on now.
Yeah, apologies for that. Yeah, so to answer the question about trends, originally we were seeing a lot of low harm deepfakes, a lot of low level impact deepfakes where presidents would play Minecraft with each other, Gen AI images that were clearly fake. But as the quality has gotten good enough to where now this content is actually believable, we're seeing a trend where we're increasing the amount of medium and high harm deepfakes. It's worth remembering that, there's a level of quality here that's important, right? And the quality of Gen AI is improving rapidly. Even 3 months ago, Gen AI images would have problems with hands and fingers, right? We were going to add an extra finger or remove a finger, and it would be obviously fake. And so the ability to create medium and high harm impact just wasn't there. But as Gen AI has gotten better with the release of models like Flux, with new image, voice, and face models, this is becoming so realistic that the ability to create high harm and medium harm deepfakes is easier. So now we're seeing an increase in the amount of medium and high harm deepfakes. So as we're thinking about trends, we're going to see a movement from low harm impact to medium and high harm impact in the next 3 to 6 months.
Thank you. And last question I have here is, how will this affect the US elections?
So we've actually already seen an impact on the US election. A very notable example of this is the robocall of President Biden that was delivered to New Hampshire voters in the primary, encouraging New Hampshire voters to not vote in the primary. That had a significant impact on voter turnout in the primary, and we believe it's going to have an impact on voter turnout here in the general election. We think it contributed to the overall narrative and message around the Biden campaign, which of course made a shift very recently, and content like the Gen AI robocall, as well as Gen AI images representing Biden in a poor light, had an impact on that campaign. That is documented through a series of thought leaderships and think tank reports that we can share after this. As the election continues, we're seeing a large amount of Gen AI image and Gen AI voice fraud of both candidates, but most recently, I think this went viral even just yesterday. This is a little bit sensitive, but I think given the context of this question and this conversation, it's worth bringing up here. So these are Gen AI images of Vice President Harris working as a quote unquote escort in the 90s and early 2000s in San Francisco. These are not real images. These are images created using the Flux model and went viral on X. But already many people are claiming these to be real and using this to defame this vice president and this presidential candidate. And it's having an impact on elections currently. So this is not something that we think will have an impact in the future. This is actively having an impact right now. It has become a tool, a weapon for use in psychological warfare and information warfare, actively being promoted and pushed today. And this is why we think that integration of deepfake detection combined with OSINT scraping is such a critical application and something that Deep Media is very much on the forefront of delivering to enterprise and government customers.
Thank you. And that was the last question. I know you said you had a couple more slides. Were you going to speak on those or?
Yeah, I think just as we're wrapping up here, I just wanted to highlight the that Deep Media is again, very grateful to be here. It is very much a part of our mission to deliver our technology for businesses and governments to protect people from generative AI cybercrime. On the roadmap, I wanted to showcase that we're actively integrating technologies such as we already have OSINT scraping as capable in the DeepID platform. That's something we added just 4 to 6 weeks ago, and it's already providing a major impact. But coming very soon, we're also adding biometric lookup, biometric verification that will tell us the exact person in the image, audio, video based on speech similarity, face similarity, emotion detection, sentiment analysis. We already have transcription. We're integrating other content moderation and media intelligence capabilities. We'll be launching a video-based deepfake detection into the product, along with generator attribution, so you know what type of model was used to create this deepfake. All of this wrapped up into an easy-to-use API or product that we believe is going to provide large amounts of value to government end users today. I mean, right now, DeepID is already providing value, but as we continue to deploy these towards our public launch on October 31st, the amount of value we hope to provide is going to be significantly increased on a month-over-month basis. And finally, by the end of the year, one thing that we're very excited to launch with our government customers is the integration of OSINT scraping, media intelligence and deepfake detection, and graph retrieval-based augmentation using open source large language models to provide an actual user interaction through an AI assistant that will go that final step to help end users really scale to meet this demand. And so as we're thinking about building this, we are very much looking for people to provide feedback and how this can be helpful for OSINT analysts, PAI analysts, anyone in the government ecosystem that thinks they want to stretch their workforce a little bit farther. If they're already really just resource constrained from the amount of content that's out there, we believe that our graph rag solution represents the most exciting opportunity for human beings to dramatically scale their output through AI help. So with that in mind, if you have any other questions, if there are any more details I could provide about our currently deployed solutions or the content and technology that we have on our roadmap, please reach out, and always happy to hop on a call and figure out how we can help.